Listen up. If you plan to vote in this year's presidential election, there are a few key dates you need to know. Election Day is November 5th. In Texas, in-person early voting begins October 21st and ends November 1st. Election administrators encourage you to vote early. You can't control the weather, an emergency, or if you get ill on Election Day, their message to you, just don't wait. They also say to check the operating hours of your specific voting location during early voting on Election Day, November 5th. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. That's not necessarily the case for the 2 weeks of early voting. You can find operating hours on your county's website. If you're applying for a mail-in ballot, that deadline is October 25th, and your application must be received, not postmarked, by that date. Election administrators want to clear up misinformation and false narratives. They say if you vote early or by mail, your vote will count. Just hit these important deadlines I've mentioned. Hopefully you've registered to vote already. That deadline was October 7th. And remember, it'll always be 30 days out from Election Day. We have a lot more information to help you prep for the election. Just go to WFAA.com/vote. I'm Adriana D'Alba. Election Day is fast approaching, and we're helping you prepare to cast your ballot. First, you'll need to register to vote. Head to the Texas Secretary of State's website at votetexas.gov, then go to voter registration and click on this link. It says start a new voter registration application here. Now, to register to vote in Texas, you need to fill out a voter registration application and return it to your county elections office. That has to be at least 30 days before the upcoming election date. Here's how you can fill out the application. Complete it online, print it, sign, and mail it to your county elections office. You can also request a printed application. Then the elections office will mail you a postage-paid application. And if you're cutting it close to that 30-day deadline, simply visit your local voter registrar and complete the application there. And listen to this, if you haven't registered to vote yet, there's a little shortcut. Let's say your Texas driver license is up for renewal. You can actually register to vote online when you renew or replace your driver's license. Just remember, if you are registered to vote, make sure all of your contact information matches. That means if you recently moved or changed your name, you need to update all your information on your voter registration record. You can update your information through the Texas Secretary of State's portal at texas.gov. For more ways to prep for Election Day, go to WFAA.com/vote. I'm Adriana D'Alba.
As you're planning for Election Day, don't forget about your outfit. Here are 3 things to know that might save you some time. First, in Texas, it is a misdemeanor crime to wear clothes, hats, buttons, or other accessories that show support for a candidate or measure currently on the ballot. That means Reagan Bush 84 shirts and Beto for Governor buttons are okay. Make America Great Again hats and Harris Walls tees are not. A poll worker will ask people who break this law to leave and return when they've changed or covered up. Second, you're not allowed to use your cell phone within 100 feet of a voting station or ballot box. The Secretary of State's office says it's best to take that I voted selfie outside your polling place. And since you can't check your phone for notes, elections officials recommend printing out a sample ballot to bring with you. Find a version tailored for you on your county's election website. For more election information, visit WFAA.com/vote. I'm Matt Houston. Texas's rules for voting by mail have changed since the last presidential election. You're eligible to vote absentee now if you're 65 or older by Election Day. You're a student registered to vote in Texas but studying out of state. You're pregnant and due within 3 weeks of Election Day, before or after. You're in jail but not convicted of a felony. You'll be out of town on Election Day and during the early voting period. And if you're sick, injured, or living with a disability, it's up to you to decide whether you're healthy enough to vote in person, and elections officials cannot argue with your decision. Your early voting clerk has to receive your application to vote absentee by October 25th. Then you have until Election Day to send it in. Ballots postmarked before 7 p.m. November 5th and received by 5 p.m. November 6th will count. Don't forget, Texas now requires you to include an ID number on both your vote by mail application and the special envelope you put your completed ballot in. That could be your social security number, driver's license number, or digits from another state ID, but it needs to match the number Texas has on file for you. If you can't remember which one of those you used when you registered to vote, call your registrar of voters or put all of those numbers down. Scan this QR code to track your absentee ballot application and your completed ballot's status. For more election information, visit WFAA.com/vote. I'm Matt Houston.
A U.S. Senator represents the entire state. That means every registered Texan can weigh in on this race. Senator Ted Cruz, the incumbent Republican, wants a third term in Washington. Congressman Colin Allred, a Democrat, wants to unseat him. Before you vote, we're helping you get a better grasp on where they stand. On the border, Cruz introduced legislation to build a wall, to add manpower to the U.S. Border Patrol, and to ICE for deportation operations. His legislation would punish visa overstays and reform parole and asylum processes. Allred touts breaking with his party on the need for more border security. He supports protecting dreamers, offering tax-paying undocumented immigrants a path to citizenship, and addressing violence and poverty in Central and South America to slow the flow of migration. You can learn more at WFAA.com/vote. A U.S. Senator represents the entire state. That means every registered Texan can weigh in on this race. Senator Ted Cruz, the incumbent Republican, wants a third term in Washington. Congressman Colin Allred, a Democrat, wants to unseat him. Before you vote, we're helping you get a better grasp on where they stand. On health care and abortion, Cruz applauded the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, and he says abortion policy should be up to the states. He has expressed support for Texas's ban, but he has not explicitly said he supports a national ban, saying instead one has not been proposed. Cruz also wants a full repeal of the Affordable Care Act. Allred opposes Texas's ban on abortion. He favors legislation that would make the Roe v. Wade protections law. He supports the Affordable Care Act, and he says Texas should expand Medicaid. You can learn more at WFAA.com/vote.
Las elecciones presidenciales se acercan y hay algo importante que usted debe saber. Si usted es bilingüe, la ley federal y estatal requiere que todos los materiales de voto sean traducidos. Aquí en el estado de Texas, los materiales deben estar disponibles en español. Además, en distritos con una cierta población hispana, la ley requiere que haya secretarios bilingües electorales presentes. El Departamento de Justicia ha dicho que monitoreará cada condado para asegurar su cumplimiento. Texas es uno de los estados con la mayor cantidad de hispanos elegibles para votar en el país. De acuerdo al centro Pew Research, este año más de 36 millones de hispanos en los Estados Unidos son elegibles para votar. En las últimas elecciones, la segunda minoría con el mayor peso electoral en los Estados Unidos fueron los latinos. Su voto importa, así que prepárese para votar este 5 de noviembre. Para WFAA, le informo Adriana de Alba. Atención, si usted planea votar en las elecciones presidenciales de los Estados Unidos, hay algunas fechas clave que usted necesita saber. El día de las elecciones es el 5 de noviembre. La votación anticipada en persona comienza el 21 de octubre y termina el 1 de noviembre. Si usted desea solicitar una boleta por correo para votar, la fecha límite para solicitarla es el 1 de noviembre. Ojalá ya se haya registrado para votar, pues la fecha límite para registrarse fue el 7 de octubre. Y recuerde, la fecha límite siempre será 30 días antes de las elecciones. En las últimas elecciones presidenciales del 2020, aproximadamente 16.5 millones de latinos ejercieron su voto a nivel nacional. Fue un aumento del 30% desde el año 2016, en el cual más de 12 millones de latinos votaron. De acuerdo al centro de Pew Research, este año aproximadamente 36 millones de latinos son elegibles para votar aquí en los Estados Unidos. Eso es 1.4 millones más que las elecciones pasadas. En las últimas elecciones presidenciales, Joe Biden ganó la mayor parte del voto latino por el país, pero por décadas la mayoría de los latinos en Texas han votado por candidatos republicanos. Tenemos mucha más información para ayudarle a prepararse estas elecciones. Solo visite la página web wfaa.com/vote. Le informo Adriana de Alba.